corporation arriving there in an open world. And we develop tables of negotiation with them. And it's never easy, never ever. It's difficult, and in some moment we go even to actions in order to protect the communities. But we know it is better. I mean, it is absolutely important to get to an understanding. It's better for everybody.
Recently, there's been much in the newspaper and television about Ecuador and Venezuela working to free some of the hostages. What role do Ecuador and Venezuela have in bringing peace to Colombia?
This is a good question, you know, the situation with Ecuador and Venezuela. Well, first of all, I think that getting peace in Colombia, especially with the FARC people, is something that is going to take a long time. I don't believe with President Uribe and also with the next president, I don't believe we're going to have peace with the Colombian guerrillas. This is probably the reason we decided to start doing development and peace now in the midst of the conflict in order to demonstrate to the guerrillas and also to people that it is possible to transform the structural situation in Colombia, producing inequity now without having the necessity of arms. It's risky, it's difficult, but it's possible. Now, President Chavez, as you know, is sort of is a leader in Latin America. Okay, it's at the same time a problem for us because President Chavez got this sort of populism of his, because the economic solutions he is offering to Venezuela are complicating enormously the situation for the people of Venezuela. But for many people in Latin America, it is important to have a leader confronting the United States. And this is the relevance of Chavez. And I think we are going to have Chavez for long in Latin America. Chavez has this idea of the socialism of the 21st century, sort of Bolivar socialism, and he put that together, Bolivar and socialism. And the guerrillas in Colombia, who were looking for an ideology, they had lost the Marxist ideology, and they discovered in Chavez an ideal. So they are trying to join with Chavez. Chavez is offering them the possibility of looking for peace in Colombia. But Uribe, president of Colombia, is totally against Chavez. Chavez is a left-wing man. Uribe is the principal friend of Bush, as you know, in Latin America. Uribe, the president of Colombia, is totally a right-wing president. He's the leader of the right-wing policies in Latin America. And finally, Uribe was upset because of the intervention of Chavez in the solution of the kidnapping people in Colombia. Also, we have many difficulties with the FARC in the southern border with Ecuador. The FARC people, the Armed Force ARC people in Colombia, the guerrillas, they go and come by the border with Ecuador. And because of that, Uribe decided to launch an attack against the FARC when the FARC was in the Ecuador. Uribe was violating the sovereignty of Ecuador. And the United States was supporting Uribe in this decision. All the Latin American countries, probably all the Latin American, only the United States supported Uribe on that. All the Latin American countries were demanding the protection and the respect of the borders of the countries. And because of that, we had this sort of tensions with Ecuador and Venezuela. In my opinion, Chavez is very important for any sort of peace process in Colombia, and especially for the liberation of the kidnapped people. Hope Uribe will be able to understand this, because the only person who really is able to discuss, the only leader in Latin America who is listened by the FARC people is Chavez. The FARC people, they don't want to have any sort of business with Uribe. The contradiction and the confrontation is very, very extreme, it's too high.
Hello. Thank you for coming once again. It's wonderful to hear more from you. In one of my classes, liberation theology class, we were reading this book called Death Without Weeping, and it's about a woman's experience in Brazil in her work among the poor. And in her book, she brings up the point that she does not have much support from local bishops and higher powers within the church. And so I was just wondering if you've experienced some of this, if you've experienced lack of support from bishops and other members of the church in your work among the poor, especially with the ideas of liberation theology and the facets that play into that.
Okay. I have to say that I have a very good bishop in Barranca Bermeja, Colombia, Monsignor Jaime Prieto. He studied sociology in Louvain University, the University of Louvain in Belgium. And you remember many of the theologians of the liberation theology went during the 60s to Louvain University. So Jaime Prieto is been supporting us all the time. Because of this, because of him, we had got the possibilities with the Jesuits in Magdalena Medio to do what we have done. But also I have to say that I would like to have a deeper commitment of the Colombian church in the very deep, very awful humanitarian crisis in Colombia. In my opinion, our church doesn't want to enter in contradiction with President Uribe. President Uribe is a very good Catholic, and we have a lot, very complicated, very profound ethical problems with the seguridad democrática, democratic security of President Uribe. Many people, friends of Uribe, appointed to important places in the government who finally were connected with the paramilitary groups. Friends of the president who are in the Congress and now are imprisoned because they were also involved in the production of drugs. And and many, many other very complicated